And welcome to week 4 of the Pigskin Picks here on Delaware Live, powered by 302 Sports. This week, just before, it's almost mid-season. It's almost time for Jason to go to the bunker. We're going to get him before he gets down there. And Jason, your shot at Marty Sheehan, man, he's trying to go wire to wire with the one loss. And each week, it's worse and worse for people. So you're going to be on the clock this week. There we go. Let's start off with go with upstate game. We'll go into your neighborhood here, Jason. We'll start with Friday night kickoff, 7:00. Concord at number 5 Caravel, AA game. Starting the season off with 2 lopsided losses. Who would have thought we'd be talking about or featuring a game with the Concord Raiders right now? But they showed up last Saturday morning, beat the story of the year in McKean in Delaware football. Keene was in the early stages of the reboot. But the Raiders ended the Highlanders' 3-0 run with a 28-24 victory. Now it's a trip down to Bear, where John Reed and the 3-0 Caravel Buccaneers await them. Can Concord upset back-to-back weekends? Nah, Caravel stays on a roll here. Jason?
Yeah, Caravel is one of the dark horse, the team that no one talks about in that 2A. And I think they're one of the dangerous teams in 2A, what they have done week in and week out to start the year. And I think they continue it here. I think they defeat Concord.
Hey, Mitchell.
Yeah, Concord had that, like you said, that big upset over McKean last week, but Caravel's scoring a lot. Looks like they're averaging about 44 points a game this season so far. So I like Caravel here.
Let's move to another upstate game. This is the big one in AA. It's Saturday, 2:00. Number 4 Wilmington Friends and number 2 Archmere, the defending Class 2A champs, had their 15-game winning streak snapped at the hands of Howard last Saturday. If realignment's done one thing, it's made AA a wild ride, kind of like the old Division II. Coming off the loss to Howard, it doesn't get any easier for the Auks. They have to travel. No, actually, this is a home game for Archmere.
Yeah, homecoming.
Right. But it's a mid-afternoon game, and Wilmington Friends, they're coming in 3-0. Last year, this was a 24-21 loss for the Quakers. But look, there's going to be, it may not be a Tattersall field, but there's going to be Tattersalls on the sideline. There's going to be Tattersalls in the game. There's going to be Tattersalls in the coaching box. There's going to be Tattersalls in the bleachers. That's just too much mojo for Archmere to overcome. This is my upset for this week. Wilmington Friends moves to 4-0 here.
And Benny, we do the Super Sevens, and I was one of the ones that had Friends as the top ranked team this week. They just don't make many mistakes. Right. One thing that plagued Archmere last week: 4 turnovers against Howard. They don't turn the ball over. 4 turnovers led to 4 Howard scores, and Howard was able to build up a big lead and hold on. I don't see the Archmere making those mistakes again, but this Friends team's tough. Picking them on the road to beat the Auks.
Right.
Yeah, we got Robbie Tattersall versus Chris Albero. 2 quarterbacks are going to have a great game. It's going to be worth the price of admission. I think you guys convinced me. I was kind of leaning Archmere, but Friends, you make a great point how they don't make many mistakes. Archmere's coming off a tough loss. Yeah, I'm going to jump on the bandwagon. We'll go Friends on the road.
Friends all the way across. This game's been moved to 5:00 on Friday due to the storms coming in. It's Indian River at number 3 Seaford. Indian River has been the Blue Jays' nemesis back to the old Henny South days. The Indians have won 9 of the last 10 games between these two. They come off a strong win over Brandywine last Friday night. But this isn't your parents' Blue Jays right now. They're averaging 41 points a game. Jazante Levon has proven to be one of the top running backs in Class A. Seaford's last win over Indian River, 2017. Seaford wins here. Here's a bonus pick for you. This sets up the Lions Cup Trophy game against Laurel, where both teams could be 7-0. Seaford will be 7-0. If Laurel can get by Woodbridge, I couldn't tell you the last time Laurel and Seaford met, both undefeated. I'm going with Seaford here.
Yeah. Seaford is on a roll. They're at 41 points a game. I mean, They're really good offensively. Indian River didn't look good against Odessa, but came back last week against Brandywine. But I think Seaford's too much for him. I like Seaford in this one.
Very Mitchell.
Seaford with their running back, Dante Levon, 792 yards and 9 touchdowns in only 4 games. I think they're gonna keep rolling. Seaford.
All right, let's move to Saturday at noon. Number 6, Appoquinimink, and number 7, St. George's. Within the next 5 to 10 years, this area of Delaware is going to produce some great and new rivals. Although a vacation school, St. George's, it sits right in that Middletown, Odessa, Townsend area, and the success of the Hawks, as well as the Jaguars, make for a great battle this Saturday. Pretty soon, these guys aren't going to have to drive very far. They'll have 4 games in their backyard. But St. George is coming in this one off a stinging 16-14 loss to Slays Annam on a field goal late. But I think the Hawks defense is going to prove too much for the Jaguars. I think St. George's wins here.
You know, Benny, both teams are coming in off of tough losses where I thought they both kind of outplayed their opponents in that game. I thought Appo really, 2 big plays for Middletown, but the rest of the game, I thought Appo held their own and actually outplayed Middletown at times. St. George's also with Sally's. But, at the end, the field goal beats them. Both teams coming in needing a win. I'm going to go with the home team here, St. George's.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one to watch. Both teams got some great players. We got Appo's Daniel McConomy and St. George's Donovan Brooks. It's looking like it's going to be high winds, maybe a little rainy. So the ball's going to be kept on the ground. But I think I'll go home team. I'll go St. George's as well. I like home team in the bad weather.
Okay, Friday night, 7:30. I think we're having this. This is the northern game, isn't it, Jason? Milford and Red Lion?
It is.
So this game looks like it could be a shootout. The Bucks got off to a hot start. The past 2 weeks, their offense has kind of sputtered. I kind of expect that to improve a little bit. They have the potential to break it any time. They have athletes. They've got some guys. The Lions come in off a tough after a tough start to their schedule, 1-2, with a loss to Caravel. But they have a signature win over Delmar. At 0-2 in the district, in District 3, Milford is in a must-win situation on the road, and that's not a position you want to be in. Red Lion wins another nail-biter here.
Yeah, Benny, I was able to be at that Red Lion Delmar game, and that was a fantastic game, back and forth. But the young quarterback made some plays down the stretch to help Red Lion win that game. Their 3 opponents so far have been St. Mark's, Caravel, and Delmar. 3 tough opponents. They're 1-2. The Milford team comes in. Red Lion's fighting for that. Both these teams are trying to fight for that 4th spot, in a playoff berth. I'll go with the home team here, Red Lion, to win this one.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys already mentioned they're both coming off tough losses. Milford to Delmar and Red Lion to Caravel. So both sitting with early losses. And like you said, Milford's definitely a must-win playing on the road. I'm sure Red Lion kind of feels like they need to win every game here on out. They both have playmakers. They both can score. We know that. I think the thing that does it for me is Red Lion did beat Delmar in a close game. It looks like it was 2019. Delmar missed her 2-point conversion. And then Delmar went and beat Milford 35-7. So I kind of got to lean towards Red Lion looking at that data there. So we'll go Red.
Got to take that head-to-head. Means something.
Yeah.
Let's move back up. I skipped the game. Saturday, 3 o'clock, number 7, St. Andrews at number 6, Wilmington Charter. Key game in Class A, District 1. The winner here gets to 3-0, and all pretty much but secures a spot in the state tournament and before the midway mark of the season. The last time Wilmington Charter was 4-0, 2010, 12 years ago, was the last time they started out 4-0. They were 3-0 to start the season last year before a blowout loss to the Saints. The Force is going to avenge that loss this season. Wilmington Charter wins this game.
One thing about Wilmington, the realignment of football, it brought kids out to Wilmington Charter, and that's great to see. Like you said, Benny, last year they started they're 3-0 heading into that game, didn't go their way. This time, I like them to win here, to defeat St. Andrews and get that 4-0 start, the first one since 2010.
Right.
Yeah, Char's been on fire this year. Like you said, St. Andrews beat them in a pretty big win there. Beat them up pretty good. But that was also with their quarterback who's graduated through 3 touchdowns. I think Wilmington Charter stays hot, especially at home.
There we go. 3 across again. All right. Come some tough picks here. We're getting down to the nitty gritty. And it's the central game of the week on Delaware Live, powered by 302 Sports. 7 o'clock kickoff. Friday night, number 3 Sussex Central at number 2 Smyrna. Whoa, Nelly. This is going to be a game. The first of 3 big games this year, the second big game this week. This is a Class AAA District 2. Folks, District 2 is now a 3-horse race between Sussex Central, Smyrna, and Dover. For many years, back in the day, this was just another game for the Golden Knights. The Henlopen North series that they dominated. But in 2014, a man by the name of Mike Judy came to town. And he brought with him a young quarterback, remember, by the name of Nolan Henderson. And they went down for Sussex Central's homecoming, and they shocked the Knights 35-29 that game. Since then, the Knights are 2-8 versus the Eagles. Although when Central does beat Smyrna, they'll go on to win a state title. They've done it twice, those 2 wins. I think both teams are tested and they're ready for this game. I'm just glad that it's a road game for the Knights, so I don't have that pressure of picking against them in the castle. Smyrna's going to win a low-scoring game here in Smyrna.
Oh, yeah, this is a tough one. I've been going back and forth all week when I saw it on the notes that we were picking this game. It's a tough game. I like both teams' defenses, and so I do think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I am going to go with the road team here. I think in this series, it seems like the road team gets it done more than the home team, especially the last few years. So I'm going to go with the Knights on the road in the little mild upset.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. 2 really, really good defenses. I know we got to see Central versus Sally's. We did that a few weeks ago, and I really feel like Central's defense is what really got the job done for them. It was a 7-0 game. But they both also have really good running backs, right? Smyrna has Ymir Knight and Markel Holman. And then Central has Chris Shields, Andrew Long, and PJ Henry. So we're going to see a lot of running, maybe a little throwing, depends on the weather. I know both teams can throw the ball a little bit. I've been hemming and hawing since we started these picks here. I don't know. I asked Dad for, hey, who are you going with? I can't really pick, but I'm gonna go with Central. I like them. They've pulled out some close games this year already. Some nail biters. I think I'm gonna go Central here.
You guys are going to cause them to revoke my my gold card at Sussex Central. I might lose my spot in the press box. But, here I am, the alumnus going against them, and you guys are taking them. I don't know. We'll see. Last game to pick is the downstate game of the week. It's Delmar Woodbridge. It's the Kiwanis Trophy game. That game has been moved to a 6 o'clock kickoff tomorrow night. A week ago, Jason, we before the shows, and we talked about it. What's happening in Delmar? What's happening in Woodbridge? And both put up huge scores last week to win last Friday night. But now, who can build off of that win? You can throw those first 2 losses out right now as they enter into district play. They're still in the hunt. We're in a key game at week 4. It's a rivalry. It's a trophy game. 50 years of history in the Kiwanis trophy game. Over 50 years, actually. This is going to be a ground war. The game could be over by 8 o'clock. Neither team throws much. They both run the ball a lot. I'm taking a big risk here. I like Delmar on the road.
Well, with the earlier start time, get there early, get your scrapple,
Right.
Settle in. It's going to be a really good game, like Benny said. It's going to be over quickly because both teams like to run the ball. I've seen Delmar this year against Red Line. I was really impressed with their defense. And Woodbridge, a nice bounce back win last week after that rough start. I'll go with the home team here. Woodbridge just doesn't. I know they lost to St. Mark's earlier this year, but they just don't seem to lose on the road or at home too much. I like them to win here at home.
Yeah, I would say first of all, expect to hear the name Johnson all night long. Like you said, lots of running. We got Delmar's Jalen Johnson and Woodbridge's Tracy Johnson. So I think we're gonna hear that name a lot.
Yeah.
It's like Dad's joke every time Bulldogs play each other.
Right.
So we're gonna hear Johnsons a lot. They both showed up last week and put points on the board. There's another tough one for me. Delmar's been looking good. They're always a solid program. Woodbridge, Jason, you said like it's tough to beat them at home. I know St. Mark's did it, but it's tough to beat them at home. I'm gonna go with Woodbridge. I think they got that fourth quarter gets real eerie there. I think I don't know. I like Woodbridge at home in a little wet, windy game. Lots of running. Let's go Woodbridge.
Thing about these two teams is they've not been afraid to schedule anybody. Look at their losses. Delmar's losses to Wilmington Friends and to Red Lion, and Woodbridge's losses, St. Mark's and Cape and Lopin. So they went up in class and took a loss, and then they played one of the best teams in AA. So that's what makes it hard to pick this game is the quality of their schedule. Jason?
Yeah, and you talk about that, Benny, and I think both of them will be in the tournament. So playing those tough schedules, it helps them in games like this, and going further down the road. Tough starts to their schedule, but as a coach, I like that. I like like playing the tough teams to find out where your team is.
Yeah. Jason, we talked on the show last night. You were down there. You had another assignment, but talked about two coaches hitting landmarks last week. Bill DiNardo hitting number 300 and John Wells hitting number 200 the weekend before. 500 wins between those two guys, and they play in a game that was 7-0.
Yeah. It's real interesting, but for Coach DiNardo, he doesn't start many freshman quarterbacks, and so I think that's something new for him this year. And I really like the freshman quarterback. I've seen him play a couple times. But it's just an accomplishment by both coaches. 500 wins between the two of them, and it seems like we see them a lot on the side, the sidelines, covering these teams the last few years.
And Trey, you were at that game between those two guys, and 7-0. I mean, we were coming in expecting some offense, and we got to see defense in that game.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great game to watch, even though it was low scoring. Like it was just I'm up there with the scout team coaches, and they're just both coaches. They weren't screaming, yelling, freaking out. They're sitting there with with their play sheets, really calm, both teams making great adjustments the whole game. Coaches on the sideline, they were making the adjustments. They were, back and forth. Both teams get down the field to get a big stop. Players, pretty clean game too, if I recall. Like players just played well. You could tell both coaches and both coaching staff have well-run teams, and it's a testament to 300 wins and 200 wins. They do a good job.
And Trey, we have one more shot. Thing here is we didn't give you Dover to pick this week, but you have picked them in upsets back to back. Talk about the Senators this year.
Yeah, it's a little can't really pick that one this week. I gotta stay true to my alma mater and where I coach, but yeah, Dover's offense, man, they can put some points on the board. They're impressive to watch against Cape. They've been impressing people all year. They had that one tough loss to Arundel, I believe, and they played a very clean game last week too. So did Cape. They weren't making many mistakes when I say clean. Like they were, not touchdowns were getting called back. They were just driving down the field. They're doing all the right things to get towards a championship. I would say like they're really well coached team, and I like the offense they're putting up.
And Jason, as Marty Sheehan says, what they need to do is sign up on Arundel every year for their opening game because they go on a run every time they lose Arundel. But you got to see Dover a little bit on tape. I mean, and I've already said it. I think it's a 3-horse race for District 2. Your thoughts on Dover Central Smyrna?
Yeah, and it definitely is a 3-horse race. What I was really impressed watching your game against Cape was their defense. Their team speed on defense were incredible. I got a chance to see Cape Sally's to open the year, and Sally's has a great defense that as we've seen this year, and they couldn't slow the Cape down on when Cape had offense, especially in the second half. And Dover did that. So Dover impressed me on the defense end. I knew they had speed and could score on the offense, but their defense is really good. I do think it's a 3-team race, and I'll tell you what, it's going to be a fun District 2 as the season comes down to see which one of those teams can take the other two victories over the other two teams heading into the tournament.
Right, Trey, you were there. 2 picks, but I thought what more important was the closing speed of the Dover secondary in that game, where if they weren't knocking the ball away, we had the one big bubble screen where he just separated the ball from the receiver. They sniff stuff out and get there fast.
Yeah, tons of speed, both sides of the ball. Yeah, I mean, you said it all right there. Like even when Cape was passing, they just got to the ball, got in between, and broke up the pass. And even if there was a little space, they closed it quickly. So lots of speed on that team.
Right, and then we're talking about coaches. We had Dave Hearn coming in with 234 career wins as they play Woodbridge this week. So a lot of these OGs of Delaware High School football coaching are still out there getting it done, and it's fun to watch. And we're going to get to see a little bit more of this week. Big games this week up north on Delaware Live. I think Nick and you guys have the call on that one.
Jason? Yeah, Milford Red Line. Like I said, it's a good game. This is the second time we've had Red Line up here this year, and both of them against Delmar and Milford. So it's good to see. I think they're real competitive. Like you said, I wasn't able to get there last night, but I enjoyed watching Red Line on the show, and coach today. They've had a lot of tough injuries early in the season, and the kids are pushing through it. And I know they were, you lose to Caravel and St. Mark's. Those are 2 bad losses to beat a Delmar team, which I think is going to be a solid team come the end of the year.
Right, yeah, Delmar and Woodbridge, they're mirror image. They lost a ton to graduation, not just numbers, big names that they lost, and they're having to kind of rebuild with young lines. That takes time. Trey will be with me tomorrow night at the Kiwanis Trophy game, and then up in Smyrna we got the Sussex Central Smyrna game will be on Delaware Live. So 3 big games for you, 1 rivalry, a good AA game, which I think could end up being a battle. It might be the most high scoring game of the weekend on our shows, and then Delmar Woodbridge ground game. Tune in early because it could, like I said, it could be done by 7:30, 8 o'clock because these teams don't throw the ball much. So, folks, those are our picks. Ken, Jason, Ketch, Marty Sheehan each week. I mean, it's gone from 2 losses, 3 losses, 4 losses. Phil had a tough week. He had a tough week on the pick, but he had the most views ever of our picks. He had over 700 views last week with Turtleville. So we'll have to get him on some more. He's our guy. But one loss is what you're looking to beat there, Jason. Marty Sheehan feels like he owns it, so we're going to find out.
Yeah, definitely. I went with a couple upsets too, so hopefully I'll get them right.
All right, guys. Sometimes you got to roll the dice to be the gambler. So, folks, that's it for our picks for week 4. Games all different times: 6 o'clock in Woodbridge, 7 o'clock in Smyrna, 7:30 at Red Line. Folks, have a good night. See you at kickoff.